Kayden. Hey, congratulations on your participation at WonderCon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I got really lucky. It's my first year there as an exhibitor and a panelist. So,
Oh, really?
yes.
So tell us first. What is this panel that is happening tomorrow at WonderCon?
So the panel's called Rise of the Latina Superheroes, and it's just the questions like, where is a Latina superhero? Why doesn't she exist? What superpowers does she have? And when do we get to see her? And so there's a collection of us creators. There's Barbara, she's with Fan Base Press. She created Quince, but she's a publishing company. There's myself, of course. I'm the writer creator of A La Brava, the universe of Latina superheroes. My artist is there as well, Amanda Jelena Gonzalez. She did Ruka and Jalisco. We have Edgar Miranda Rodriguez. He created La Boriqueña. He's there. And then I have Enriquez as well, and he did La Fuerza, or yes, Fuerza. So they're all creators, just Latina creators, honestly. No, sorry, Latina creators. And it's just the representation thing. And we're talking about in movies as well as obviously in comics. So it's a fun discussion. It's definitely a fun contemporary discussion.
So what are some of the topics that were covered for tomorrow that you just touched upon? Yeah.
You'll have to watch it. But the moderator, Nelly Castillo, she goes into really great questions, as like in regards to like the big two, like Marvel and DC, and then us as the independent publishers as well. So you'll see there's a dichotomy. There is obviously a lot of it has to do with money as well as just the reach, right? Like if I can pay to be world, of course I would. But right now my reach is very, very Californian, because I can only do California comic book stores. The local Comic Cons, of course, like WonderCon, which is a great one to be at. But it's stuff like that. There's just topics of obviously who we are, our superheroes themselves, and just the importance of it. Like, who does it help? Like, obviously it's everyone, but it's really fun discussion between all of us.
I understand this is your first WonderCon, but is this your first con overall, or have you covered?
Oh no, I started in 2019. So I used to go to cons, back when we had cons. I used to go to con as just a fun person just walking around because that was my favorite thing, especially San Diego, of course. And that was like 5-7 years I've been going. And then in 2019, I came out with Jalisco, so my first graphic novel, and instantly LA Comic Con. So this is in September of 2019. So LA Comic Con was up, and they invited me, and I got a free table there. I was very, very fortunate. I got a table. So that was my first con as an exhibitor. And then Long Beach Comic Con came out. That was the top of the year. And then WonderCon was coming out. This was 2020, of course. Didn't happen. San Diego didn't happen, but I had tables was there. I got invited. So I guess, and then Valley Comic Con, San Fernando Valley Comic Con invited me. It's a much, much smaller in comparison. It's just like a ballroom at the Hyatt Regency. But those are my 3 cons, me as an exhibitor that I've been to.
Well, obviously there's a huge difference between a physical con and a virtual con. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I think that everyone's doing the best that they can with what they can, and that is fine. That's the best I can say. Like, obviously everyone wants in person. I would too if it was safe. And that's the mentality, and where you just have to go, you roll with the punches.
Now, you also mentioned you have a virtual booth that's going to be at WonderCon this weekend. Could you tell us what's being previewed and how does that work for you?
So it's like an exhibit hall. They did it pretty well from what I can see on my side, but it's an exhibit hall. You get the map, and you get, and you have the listings, the glossary, the listings of where to go. And so you just find it. Mine's under Phoenix Studios because that's my publishing company. And then you just show up and you hit the button, and like you're in their store. You see the photos, you see obviously the description of the merchandise as well. And it's pretty simple. It leads, I believe, to their website for purchasing. But same thing, everything is on the store, the storefront at WonderCon. So that's how I understand it goes. I may be wrong, but on my side.
Well, you know what? That's actually pretty exciting because hopefully this virtual Comic-Con has a greater reach because you're talking about reaching nationally and internationally this time around rather than just locally.
And it's actually going to be up for 10 days, which is very nice too. So if you miss it Friday, Saturday, it will remain up, all the stores or all the tables.
Well, that's excellent news for you. That is actually terrific. Now, let's talk about yourself. You basically formed Phoenix Studios just a couple of years ago. Why did you want to get into comic books in the first place?
I got into it's a little bit like a means to an end. It helps solidify my property. It helps also get a fan base. My overall goal is to be like Ninja Turtles, you know, or like any Marvel Studios, like Batman, right? Like I will be an animated TV show. I will be a live action feature. I'll be little figurines and I'll be Barbie dolls. And, you know, and Halloween costumes, you know, like why not run the gamut? And so that's kind of the way I've always seen it. As small as I am, but that is what I want to be. So I come from writing and directing in the film industry, very independent. And so that's how I started. It was like, okay, here's a script, here's Latina Superhero. How do I get it up on the big screen? Comic books, right? Because comic books get sold left and right, especially nowadays. And so like that's the, not necessarily that is a route in, but it's also very nice too. Like I do like comics, you know, like it's all the same. It's all storytelling. It's just these are moving pictures and these are stills. But you still tell the story. You still, you know, you still live in a world.
Now, culturally, you actually started with Latina superheroes for yourself. What actually inspired you to go into that route? Because it's such a niche.
I just wanted to see Latina superheroes. I don't. That was my question. I was like, okay, what if I can write any script to see on the big screen? What would it be? And it was the first answer was Latina superhero. And so I was like, great, I can write that. I grew up with lots and lots of superheroes. I grew up with a lot of action. I'm a millennial, so I had all the great 90s movies, you know, and everything was action. It was just very powerhouse, you know, and fun and fighting. So I grew up with that, and a lot of obviously musicals as well as other stuff. But that's what I go naturally to is movement, especially martial arts. I very much like martial arts, and so that was a very easy here. Okay, let me do a Latino superhero. You know, and so then I made 5. That was my next thought. It was like, I can do 5 because then I increase my chances that one of those 5 will get on the big screen. And then I was like, okay, might as well make my team because I have 5 of them. Same thing. They're just little random thoughts, but they're just same thing. They all connect. And that's kind of like how my synapses work. So that was kind of the evolution of it. I was like, okay, A La Brava, that's the name of the team. Okay, you know, just one step at a time. Origin story. Let's go start with a team and then go backwards. I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong. I'm just doing what works for me. And so far it's been going well.
So when you came up with the concept itself, you came up with all 5 superheroes first, or do you actually try to come up with one at a time and then ended up with 5?
Well, when I was in that my little session in my mind, I thought of all 5 at the same time. So that's
Okay, well let's kind of go through. Your first one was what? Jalisco. What was your first superhero? Could you tell us about her? Who was what, a folklore dancer?
Absolutely. So she's a folklorico dancer. That's Mexico traditional dance. So it's the one with the big dress and very big traje and like pretty designs. And I put hers with a halter top. But anyway, she has a big dress. The blades come out of her dress. So when she's dancing, which is just very much in and out motion, when she's dancing, she can say deflect bullets as well. She goes like that. They also shoot out. So it's very fun. It's not necessarily a superpower, but it is a very high skilled comic book story. Like she's a superhero in my thing, but she's very high skilled. So she is my Mexicana. So she's based in Mexico, in Jalisco, Mexico. And she takes on the femicide since there's unfortunately, there's a huge femicide in all Latin America, including Mexico. So that is her story. My mom used to dance folklorico. And so she was my first one I thought of as well, because my mom was my superhero growing up. Mm-hmm. And so like, it was a very easy, what my mom do, she dances folklorico. So I'll make a superhero that dances folklorico. And then I just added the blades because she didn't have blades. But like that was a very, very easy one. My grandma, one of them was from Jalisco, so I named her Jalisco. And the other one's from Chihuahua, which is where Woman of Juarez is from, which is the femicide as well. And so it's just the same thing. They're all linked up. That one's very, very my family. But they're all linked up to who I am, you know, and also very much to whom, you know, who made me. So that was my easiest one. The rest were a little bit like, okay, think of what's slightly different. Because, you know, I'm not all superheroes have been done, you know, for the most part. Like X-Men literally took all of them. And so, you know, I'm not gonna make something new, but I can make something that I can tweak. And that's kind of the way I was saying it. So what else can I tweak that's slightly different, different world, but fun, obviously at the same time, and Latina.
Okay, well, that's that's actually, yeah, terrific. For some unknown reason, I thought that, you know, when we think of superheroes, we think of like superpowers, but obviously we actually have to read your graphic novels to find out what's actually going on with some of these characters. Could you tell us about Santa, who is she's described as a brawler per se?
Yeah. So she actually has superpowers. You know, it's just like Batman. Like everyone calls Batman a superhero. He's a rich guy. He has absolutely no powers besides that he's rich, and that is not a power. And so, and you know, and he inherited it, so it's actually not a power at all. But Santa actually does have a power. She has divine strength, and so Santa means saint in Spanish. And so she's a brawler. So kind of like the Hulk. I like introduce her to the Hulk, although she doesn't transform and she doesn't turn green or anything. But she will always survive. That's her power. She will always survive no matter. So a little bit more like Domino in that sense. But she will always survive no matter the situation. So she can throw somebody across the room and you wouldn't expect that from her, right? But she's surviving because that's her power, because she has her strength. So she's a very cool, she's in my border town of Texas, a made up border town. I put luchadores in there as well, because why not? Because I can make up cities. So she's in the city of Rexo, which is really El Paso. There's a bunch of luchadores, so people with the mask. She wears her own mask as well, the Candy Skull mask. And so she's fun. She's my political one. So that's also, that one's a little bit heavier in that sense. But there's a big mayor race in that town. And so she joins like the Domino side, which is the Democratic side, and there's like all the conservatives, you know, and there's literally starts a race war. It's the Luchas against the Zicas, which are just the normal civilians. And then the mayor, which is on the conservative side, she starts imprisoning people, not immigrants. She just starts imprisoning people and throws them in a detention center. You know, and so it's same thing. The tensions rise, and Santa finally figures it out, learns her patriotism, and her and her friends take down the concentration centers. So
wow. that's so grounded in its own way.
Yeah.
Next up, you have what, Loquita, who's a
Yeah.
teen detective, which is not really a superpower, is it? But it's just intelligence, right?
Yeah, well, she can see the supernatural. So she is a teen detective in the supernatural realm, but she is mortal. She's a little teenager. She's a sophomore in high school. So she's my very cute one, because when she comes into womanhood, so she gets her period and she runs to the bathroom all embarrassed, etc., because she's in class. But like that kicks off her superpowers, and she doesn't know it, of course. So like when she's in the market, the next scene with her parents, she starts seeing demons and she freaks out, right? Because she doesn't know it and nobody else can see it because nobody else has that power. And so she freaks out. And eventually a ghost starts talking to her. She doesn't, and that one, she's okay because it's a ghost, it's not a demon. It's like a little kid, it's like her friend. Anyway, so they go on an adventure, on a detective adventure, because she has to help save Sissel, which is the ghost. And same thing, it's discovery. It's a lot of discovery for us as well as for Loquita. She's helping her out with the demons and telling her about, same thing, she tells her about the world, you know, what they do, why they're there, as well as having Loquita help Sissel as well. And there's a really cool twist, I'm not going to tell you, but Loquita is they're all brawlers, but Loquita knows MMA. So she does parkour as well as MMA. So she's a fun, different type of brawler than, say, Santa is. Jalisco doesn't fight because she's got her blades. So she's a supernatural one. She's my detective because she has to try and save ghosts. I guess is the best way of kind of saying it, but in a very fun way and very cute, because same thing, she's a little girl, like she doesn't know how to scare the demons away, so she makes a mask because that gives her strength, because it, you know, she's like, this will scare demons. Obviously it doesn't, but you know, like that's the way her mentality is. She's a little sophomore kid, but it gives her the strength as well.
Wow. So far, all three of them are very different, and these three right now are their origin stories, that graphic novels that are available right now. Am I correct?
Loquita comes out in a month. I just wrapped the Kickstarter, and so we're gonna send it to printers shortly. So I say early May, late April, just to be safe. But Loquita will be out in May. Is the best way of saying it. The other two are absolutely out. Yes.
Okay. And what about Bandita, which is a gunslinger from New York?
She is very fun. I'm actually excited about her because we just started my pencilers, like on page 4. Like, we're very, very new on that one. She's my gunslinger. She's Dominican. She lives necessarily in her own mind because she is cowgirl left and right, like obviously visually, but she only talks cowgirl or cowboy talk no matter what. Everyone else is regular, right? Everyone else is you and I conversational. We're in modern day New York. And she, Bandita, actually infiltrates the theaters. So it has to do with the theaters. I like Broadway. And she ends up having a job in one of the theaters there. And there's like a whole criminal underworld within that theater. And so she starts tracking them down, you know, she befriends the girls, of course, and all that stuff, but she's there to take them down secretly. And so she's fun because she's the gunslinger. Like, she's not necessarily there for revenge, which is very cowboyish, but she's there for reparations. And so it's fun. Yeah, and she has the bullet bounce. So same thing. She's my skilled. She's very highly skilled. So gunslinger. She's got the guns on each ones, right? Like the white ivory gunslings and everything. And she does the bullet bounce. So I made that up. But it's pretty much, if there's a wall here, so think billiards. She points the guns that direction, it'll bounce off the walls and it'll go around to the next person or to where her target actually is, whether it's ceilings or whatever. So she can bounce bullets. Because she adds extra things. She has like little extra tar around on the bullet, as well as wings when she does the boomerang. She has fun things. I just made fun with bullets, but that is her power, if you will.
So that covers the 4 that you actually have planned, but you have one more that's going to be in the works in the future, right? Could you talk to her?
Yeah, Ruka is actually in the works. She's on chapter 3. They're all going, you know, same thing. Loquito's wrapping up, Bandita's starting, Ruka's halfway through. So technically Ruka would hopefully be the next one out. And so Ruka is my East LA Chola, so I'm Boyle Heights. I'm from Boyle Heights. I'm East LA, but I'm not a Chola. But I get stereotyped that, which is absurd because I don't look like a Chola. But that's, you know, it's one of those, like, this is Chicana culture and that's amazing. And so I was like, okay, I'll use it. You know, we'll use my stereotype because she's really cool. She's also one of the cool ones because it's our culture. And she actually she's justice. She has to do with justice. She has powers as well. She gets brujeria through her mother, which you find out that origin story. So I won't say it. But she gives instant karma. So if you were to say trip her, she would do she'd check her hoop earring, or she'd move this or whatever. She'll do something stereotypical, and then you would trip instantly back without her touching you, or whatever it is you do, she can send it back to you. And so it's very fun because she's the second, right? She's not the first. She's not first attack. She has to wait for someone to do something first for her to get it back to you. She ends up going to San Diego. She takes down trafficking. So there's a whole thing when the kids in the neighborhood start getting stolen. And then she finds out it's in San Diego. So not too far, but she drives a couple hours that way. And then she ends up taking down trafficking with the help of Pachuca, because there's big Chicano culture as well in San Diego, especially Barrio Logan, which is where she hangs out at. And so they end up taking that down. But I do have like cool cameos. Like I have a lowrider, I have Vato, I have my pit bull, my favorite little dog, you know, like, because that's something Chicana culture, why not use it? Because I love it. That's my culture.
It sounds like a lot of real life actually influenced you through these comics.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's grounded, like you said, like it's really relevant, and it's unfortunate that it's relevant, but it's relevant and it's grounded. Like Bandita's domestic violence, you know, like who saves the females? Nobody. Who saves the women of Juarez, you know, the femicides? Nobody. Who saves, you know, and it's just all that. Like ICE is the only one, Santa's the only one that has to do with both genders, but like really, you know, there's extra stuff happening to the females and not to the males in the centers. And so it's just stuff like that. We don't get our justice. That's really the truth of it. And so why not shed some light on it, as well as I can give them justice within this world, you know, and inform the audience a little bit.
Talk about the artists that you actually use, because it's very colorful, and in the stills that the samples that I have actually seen.
Yay. So yeah, I have amazing artists. I'm very lucky. I cannot draw to save my life. I can write, but I cannot draw. My stick figures don't look like stick figures, but my artists are great, right? And so I have Eva Cabrera. She is Eisner nominated artist. She's done the Archie comics, Kim and Kim. and as well as like other Mudica and Comixology. She works a lot. So I'm very, very lucky I got her. But she's the one that drew Santa and Loquita. So she penciled and inked Santa and Loquita. And then I also have Amanda Jelena Gonzalez. She's from Albuquerque. She's here, obviously. She graduated with animation over in Laguna Beach, and she did Jalisco, so my first one, and then she's working on Ruka right now. And then Bandita, I have a new artist. She just graduated. I believe she's in Chihuahua. And she's really fun and peppy, right? She's just, because it's her first comic, and this is my fourth comic with her. And so I enjoy the whole adventure. I enjoy the process. But I showed her the tone boards. She understands, and she has the same style, like with the bigger eyes, which is like almost manga, but not as big as manga. And then just the Disney aesthetic, as I call it. But you know, they're all aligned. They all kind of look the same because that's the aesthetic that I like. And she has that aesthetic anyway. So they're really great. All of them are really great. They have different processes. Like Eva drops 10 pages at a time, or a chapter at a time, whereas another one just gives me 1 page at a time. And that's fine. You know, it's whatever works for them. They're really good. They understand, like, you know, and all of them, it's very easy to understand the purpose of the books. You know, they understand the process because I set up my systems very well. We all work on one Google Drive and everyone has their own folder. But it's very seamless. It's very great community, great people to collaborate with.
Why did you want to work with, you know, different artists? Why not just one artist?
Because it's faster. It's a lot faster. I now, something I was saying, like Loquita's wrapping up, Bandita's going, Ruka's going, and then A La Brava starts in April. So I'm gonna have 4 books again, which is great. But same thing, they're all 4 different artists because they can't be doing the same thing at the same time. Otherwise, it just takes longer. They're all really great and they're all very busy. I just need to speed up my process. I need to catch up to Marvel, which I will never do, but I will need to catch up to Marvel by like 30, 40 years. But it's that, I just need it done. I need to get out there within my little reach that I can thus far. But it's frequency. I just need them to keep going because I have more to do. I have a lot more to go on my plate.
So once your 5 graphic novels are, you know, done and published, are you going to basically now create sort of like adventures of the A La Brava team?
Yeah, so that's my 6th book, is A La Brava. So that's the team one, and I already wrote it on my side. I'm done. My penciler starts in April, and then I have to go back and get inker, colorist, etc. I have to go back to my other artists and hope that they want to do it. If not, I get new ones. But that is a fun one. It's just the team. It's the team origin. So them fighting, same thing. Very, very like Justice League. It's not the best example, but you know, infighting, something happens. They become a team. They go off and fight. So Avengers did that much better than JL did, of course, but it's fun. And then the next thing is just the V2s, as I call them. So volume 2 of all of them, including the A La Brava, the team one. But like, what happened to Santa? You know, Santa goes to spirit camp. She actually accidentally goes to a luchador spirit camp when she wants to go to a meditation camp. You know, or Jalisco goes and has mariachi friends because in Jalisco, we made mariachis, right? We made mariachi music. And so like, where's the mariachis? So I throw them in, you know, like, and I want more natives as well. So there's a lot more that those I have not written out yet. But something, they're in my mind, but they definitely, it's work to do, but I got to do it.
Wow, it sounds like you're really enjoying this comic book side. Are you going to ever return to the filmmaking side, or possibly connect these comics somehow to films or animation?
Absolutely. I don't know when. I know as of right now, I would like to do both, but pandemic wise was very much you're inside, you're doing comics, which is fine, you know, but I obviously did not work much in the industry, in the film industry otherwise. But I like comics. I do want to connect them. That is the overall goal anyway. I don't know whether live action first or animation first. I have been pitching to studios last year. This year, a little bit here and there, but last year much more because of Jalisco. Jalisco came out first. That was late 2019. So all of 2020, I was pitching Jalisco. Santa, I think, is a little too political. Then that's okay. And then that's it. Loquita's barely coming out. So I have to do the pitch rounds again to see if anyone's interested. But it does have a little bit, like people are looking at Jalisco, which is very nice. So I'm very fortunate. I don't really go into that, but at least we're getting eyes on it, which is the best thing, you know.
I know. I love the fact that you dream big. So you're comparing this to an X-Men franchise, which is pretty ambitious and also a pretty good dream for any comic. book
Thank you.
creator. So we could actually purchase these virtually through at WonderCon, but we could also purchase it through your your website at Phoenix Studios.
The website is LatinaSuperheroes.com. I do have a Phoenix Studios website as well, but that's for my writing directing because that was my original one. But this is LatinaSuperheroes.com because I own that domain name, and that's amazing. And so LatinaSuperheroes.com is where you can actually just, I mean, you can go to the store at any time. You can go today, you can go tomorrow. You have more actual options in LatinaSuperheroes.com than WonderCon. So either way, it doesn't matter. It goes to me. But that's it'll always be there.
And not only that, they could actually purchase physical graphic novels. They could also purchase other stuff on LatinaSuperheroes.com.
Yeah, I have bags, I have stickers, I have hoodies. I just put up more hoodies that have like their names on the sleeves, Latina Superhero and then Jalisco or Santa, and the image here, of course. I'm going to put up kid hoodies tonight because somebody asked for them and I said, okay. I always think of adults, but I forget kids read my stuff as well. And so, yeah, there's more things. There's t-shirts as well. There's A La Brava content. There's hats in case somebody wants a hat. But yeah, I have definitely different merch as well as the books. There's a donation thing if you want to donate, because I do donate books to nonprofits, like youth nonprofits in inner city, as they call it, in inner city locations. And so there's really great nonprofits, and the kids are very fortunate. They're very happy to be there, and I'm fortunate to give it to them as well.
That is terrific. Well, one more thing. By creating all these comics, do you feel like you're inspiring future generations for yourself or Latinas?
I hope so. And I hope it's more than just Latinas. I hope it's Latinos as well. And then really just anybody marginalized. Like, that's kind of my thing. I know I'm very Latina specific as of right now, but it's just the bigger, like, where are we and why do we exist? Not just Latina superheroes, like, where's anybody and why don't we exist? And so it's an important thing. And I do hope I do inspire kids as well as just adults as well. Like, if you go out and, write just to write because you want to write, awesome. Or you just, if you can dress in a Halloween costume as Jalisco and you're like, oh, I'm actually a Latina superhero. I'm just a superhero. That's amazing already, because like white people, they still have a million costumes to choose from, right? So they never had a problem thinking that they weren't a superhero. But where's the Latino one? Or the female one? We have some females, so that's good at least. But it's like, why not give them the hope? Why not give them the inspiration to be anything? Because they can. That's the way I was raised. I was very, very fortunate. Which is why I can say I'm going to be Marvel Studios, because I was raised that way. I was never raised saying, no, you can't,
That is great. This is terrific. Well, hey, Kayden, once again, congratulations for being at WonderCon and for successfully creating your comic book studios itself. I look forward to checking some of your stuff out. I think I'm going to go in there this weekend and order a few stuff myself, just to check out some of these origin stories that you actually create, and keep in touch, and let us know about your future projects, and we'll definitely cover them.
Yay! Thank you so much, and I definitely will. Hopefully, next one is summer. It's Ruka in summer. That's the timeline. But thank you. I appreciate being here, and I appreciate all your questions as well.
Hey, not a problem. You know how to reach us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.